Today's video will be taking a look at some various gear sources and the goodies that await in them. This is by no means meant to be some sort of pre-raid BIS list or anything like that, as honestly we don't think you'll need to be absolutely BISed out to 10-man raid in BFD or attempt PvP at least for the first few weeks, especially if you're one of the first wave of level 25s. After that though, all bets are off, and we have seen how well twinked out characters can perform against people with just average leveling greens in PvP. Ideally, you would want to have at least something in every slot giving you at least 4 to 5 points to either stamina or intellect, or if you're lucky, both, and possibly picking up some of the spell power gear in Ashenvale, whether it's new or old, or from random tailoring drop BOE recipes to make yourself, or buying crafted or random drop greens off the auction house. For green gear, certain levels can roll spell power damage as a random enchant for various schools. So if you want to mix those in with your stat pieces, or even just completely gimp your stamina and intellect to stack as much spell power as possible, keep an eye out for of Fiery Wrath greens for fire damage and of Shadow Wrath for shadow damage. Alternatively, if you're looking for stats like stamina or intellect, of the Owl gives intellect and spirit, or of intellect if you just want pure intellect. Of the Whale gives stamina and spirit, or of stamina gives pure stamina. And lastly, the one we think you should be honestly trying to get if you're going the stats route, of the Eagle gives both intellect and stamina. Starting off with professions, enchanting will have 2 pieces of gear you should pick up as a Warlock as soon as possible, starting at level 5 until you can get the dungeon or quest upgrades. Lesser Magic Wand and Greater Magic Wand. If you only want the wands though and aren't interested in doing enchanting for money or leveling it up yourself, thankfully they're BOE and will probably be very easy to pick up as people leveling enchanting sell them off in the starting towns at the launch of the game. Tailoring will have several options to choose from if you can stand leveling it up. Robes of Arcana being a random drop recipe, or lesser wizard robes taught by trainers at rank 135 are both good chest options if you want to take the RNG out of farming dungeon drops from Dead Mines or Shadowfang Keep. Hands of Darkness can give you 9 extra spell power at the cost of stamina and intellect, but the recipe is a random drop that can be farmed in various level 20 areas like Shadowfang Keep or Darkshore. Similarly, Phoenix Gov and Phoenix Pants give you a boost to your firepower spell damage, but the recipes are also random drops in various level 20 areas like Stone Talon Mountains or Stockades. Lastly, for boots, Spider Stick builds will be a very good option to take as it's taught by trainers at 125 and will easily last you until you can make one of the new data mined items, Extra Planar Spider Silk Boots. Sadly, don't know exactly how this recipe will be learned, but some data mine indicators point towards winning Ashenvale, although this is entirely unconfirmed. These boots though are so good because they are bind on pickup, we have to recommend thinking ultra hard about taking tailoring as your primary first go-to major profession, even though the rest of these items are bind on equip, and even if the only item you really want to make are the new data mine boots. Also, as a quick aside, engineering has some good stat headpieces so you don't have to rely on RNG BOE green drops, but as a downside would take your second profession slot, locking you out of say a gathering profession or another crafting profession like alchemy. Make your choice wisely as the engineering heads aren't BOP, but they do require 150 engineering to equip. Outside of the specific faction quest rewards, which we'll be going over in the next section, there's nothing keeping you from forming a group and trying to go across the world to get any of these dungeon drops besides the stockades as Horde, I guess. So this isn't really Horde or Alliance focused for right now. However, we will again get more specific when we go over some quest drops that are only available to one side or the other in the next section. Starting off, Wailing Caverns has a very good wand upgrade, Fire Belcher, that drops from Deviant Fairy Dragon. However, it is a rare spawn, not a normal spawn boss, so don't expect to see it every run. Also, if you successfully complete the entire Wailing Caverns dungeon event and start the final battle to spawn Mutinous the Devourer, you may be rewarded for defeating them with a Deep Fathom Ring. Dead Mines has several options like Corsair's Overshirt for chest armor from Edwin Van Cleef, Lavishly Jeweled Ring from Gilnid, and Emberstone Staff from Captain Greenskin, and lastly, Cookie's Stirring Rod for a wand upgrade from Cookie himself. In the Stockades, there's really only Cam's Walking Stick, but honestly, Emberstone Staff has it beat by a landslide, and you're probably going to be doing a decent amount of Dead Mines, at least as Alliance, that you should have a good chance of grabbing the Emberstone Staff. Lastly, in Shadowfang Keep, there are quite a lot of good items, and it would be worth it if you can stomach it to target Shadowfang Keep from around level 21 and rerun it to power level and try to get these items on the road to 25. Beanline Mandal from Wolfmaster Nandos is basically the best shoulders for around level 25. Robes of Argol and Belt of Argol from Archmage Argol are basically the most reasonable options to get if you don't craft your own. Both requiring level 24, but boosting your intellect and stamina with some minor agility for tank warlocks on the robe can't be denied as strong contenders for best in slot pre-raid for the chest and belt slot. Lastly, there are the first 3 BOEs from Shadowfang Keep trash, and they are Witching Staff for Shadow Specs, Mind Thrust Bracers for DPS warlocks, and Necrology Robes being possibly a minor upgrade over Robes of Argol for DPS warlocks. However, if you can't get these to drop and try to purchase them on the auction house, be prepared to pay a very hefty sum of gold. Lastly, Twisted Chanter's staff is arguably one of the best staff options you can get. However, it's a world RNG drop, so I wouldn't count on getting it anytime soon or having to pay a wad of gold for it if you choose to buy it. I'd personally recommend choosing one of the other dungeon drops we went over, or depending on your faction, some of the quest options we're about to go over for your weapon. For Horde, there are a few good quest options for both Wailing Caverns and Shadowfang Keep to look into for non-RNG based drops. In Wailing Caverns, if you complete the Leaders of the Fang quest given by Nara Wildmane and Thunderbluff, you can grab the Crescent Staff, which can easily carry you into BFD. For Shadowfang Keep, accepting the quest and then killing Argo will reward you with Seal of the Sylvanas, and combined with Deep Fathom Ring from Wailing Caverns, or if you're a Mad Lad and have Honored Rep for the PvP ring from Warsong Gulch, you'll be set for rings as Horde easily. Lastly, as well, in Shadowfang Keep, finding the Deathstalkers will reward you with Ghostly Mantle as a nice secondary option if you can't seem to win the Feline Mantle. Both quests are from quest chains started in Silverpine. For Alliance, there's Staff of Westfall from killing Edwin Van Cleef from a quest chain in Westfall that you get from Gyron's Stout Mantle. There's also the Dread Mage Hat, which is available from a quest called You Have Served Us Well after completing a Noble Brood quest chain with the Warlock Trainers and Stormwind. Both are solid options to go into BFD with. Because Resilience, World of Warcraft's true dedicated PvP stat, wasn't added actually in until TBC, PvP can actually be a very viable method to obtain gear while leveling or early at level 60. If you're able to farm out the friendly reputation with the respective factions for your Horde or Alliance associated with Warsong Gulch, you'll be rewarded with a trinket that will strip 20 resistance from your target. If you grind out Honored, you will be rewarded with a ring, cloak, and tank amulet option that will be hard to beat. Even better, as the level cap increases, there will be better versions you can purchase and replace your old versions with. As well, for Ashenvale, there was a new data mined helm for each armor class that, when worn during the Ashenvale PvP event, reduces all damage you receive in PvP by 5%. If you end up liking the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, and hit that bell notification. Now on with the video.